Shedeur Sanders' NFL debut felt less like a spotlight and more like being tossed into the eye of a storm. Cleveland called his number early in the second half after Dillon Gabriel left with a concussion, and the rookie stepped onto the field at Huntington Bank Field with every headline, hot take, and social media takeout stacked against him. What happened next wasn't pretty. Not because Sanders didn't compete, but because the NFL's physical reality and the weight of expectation collided in the worst possible way. Sanders finished 4 of 16 for 47 yards with an interception and 2 sacks. He fumbled on a sack early in his first drive. The Browns recovered, sure, but the moment set the tone. On the very next series, he threw a pass picked off by Nate Wiggins. The hits kept coming. Kyle Hamilton dropped him on a third down sack that flipped momentum. And yes, Hamilton and the Ravens didn't miss the chance to taunt him after what had already been a baptism by fire. By the final whistle, Cleveland fell 23-16, and the stat line read like a first lesson in how unforgiving this league can be. If you expected rookie poise and instant heroics, you weren't alone. But football is less about debut narratives and more about context. And the context here is enormous. Sanders was thrown into a game where the Browns' offense had been struggling to get anything going, where the defense had already given up a massive Derrick Henry run, and where Lamar Jackson, even while throwing 2 interceptions, still managed drives that tilted the scoreboard. Sanders did give the Browns a brief spark, a 5-yard completion to Cedric Tillman on his first official snap, but the drive stalled and the mistakes snowballed. The numbers are blunt, and Sanders said as much afterward. I don't think I played good at all. That's the kind of honesty that can be useful. It's also worth noting what those numbers don't show. The pressure of a situation that no college film fully prepares you for, the crowd, the game's speed, the blitzes designed by veteran defenses, the consequences of a single errant throw. He took a beating from both scheme and circumstance, and his line was battered physically and mentally. Cleveland's coaching staff put Gabriel in the right spot to start the game, and Gabriel's first half work, 7 of 10 for 68 yards, had held the Browns in it. When the team had to pivot, they went to Sanders, a call that, on paper, makes sense given the roster construction and the Deion Sanders legacy narrative. But the transition from prospect to pro is rarely linear. For a 5th-round rookie to be asked to manage a comeback in hostile territory is an ask few would accept without stumbles. What's immediate and unavoidable is the damage this does to the surrounding storylines. The Browns are 2-8 now, and the quarterback debate, Dillon Gabriel starter or Shedeur Sanders start, shifts into a new phase. Not a hypothetical argument anymore, but a live test. If Gabriel's concussion lingers and Sanders is asked to start next week in Las Vegas, this evening will be used as the baseline for judgment. If Sanders improves, learns from the mistakes, and grows, folks will point to this as the necessary, humbling beginning. If he doesn't, critics will say the team rushed him or that Cleveland's quarterback room still lacks coherence. There are 2 honest takeaways from a messy debut. First, raw talent and media narratives don't cancel out the physicality of pro defenses. Sanders showed flashes, a quick release, the willingness to take hits, but he also showed where the learning curve is steep, reading pressure, pocket awareness, and protective instincts when rushers break free. Second, the Browns' problems run deeper than quarterbacking. Offensive line breakdowns, predictable play calling, special teams lapses, all of that magnified Sanders' struggles. You can't pin a 2-date season on one rookie's learning night. For Sanders personally, this moment is the beginning of a tough public apprenticeship. His comment about believing he's made for it signals confidence, and confidence is necessary when the margin for error is thin. But in the NFL, confidence without steady growth becomes noise. The schedule won't be kind. Las Vegas looms, and if Gabriel's concussion keeps him sidelined, the rookie will get another shot, with all the national attention that comes after a debut like Sunday's. So what should Browns fans expect now? Patience where possible, but accountability where due. Sanders will be judged not by a single half, but by how he responds in practice, how quickly the coaching staff helps him correct mechanical and decision-making issues, and how the team adjusts schematically to protect its young man. If Cleveland shortens throws, gives him quicker reads, and masks protection weaknesses, Sanders' progression could look very different in 2 or 3 starts. This was not the fairy tale introduction the Browns supporters had imagined, nor the hand grenade the critics predicted. It was football, messy, physical, unglamorous, and brutally honest. The real story now isn't this stat line, it's what happens next. Will this be the defining stumble of a rookie destined for headlines, or the sting that sharpens a player into someone the Browns can build around? Time and a lot more tape will tell. Brutal first half of adulthood in the NFL for Shedeur Sanders. Loud, chaotic, and packed with lessons. He came in when Dillon Gabriel left with a concussion, and his regular season debut read like a rookie highlight reel and a cautionary tale stitched together. 4 of 16 for 47 yards, an interception, 2 sacks, a fumble, and some late misses in the red zone. Cleveland wound up losing 23-16 after the Ravens staged a comeback, and the box score made the bigger story feel unavoidable. The Browns are 2-8 and not close to solving their offensive problems yet. Quick timeline of the night. Gabriel started and went 7 of 10 for 68 yards in the first half before exiting. Sanders' first snap was a positive, a short pass to Cedric Tillman, but things unraveled quickly. He fumbled after a Kyle Hamilton sack, threw an immediate pick to Nate Wiggins, took multiple big hits, and drew an intentional grounding penalty that killed a drive. He did engineer a late push inside the 2-minute warning, but missed multiple end zone attempts and failed on 4th down, sealing the loss. The Ravens' Derrick Henry and Tyler Lockett, and the Ravens' kicker, did enough to swing momentum back Baltimore's way. Context matters here. Sanders was the 5th-round high-profile prospect who slipped in the draft and has been a lightning rod ever since. He'd barely had a sniff of regular season reps before this. The Browns drafted Dillon Gabriel and have ridden him as the starter despite poor results. Kevin Stefanski had signaled patience with Gabriel. Friday's practice comments that Sanders wasn't getting first-team reps were the clearest sign he preferred continuity. But an in-game concussion changed the math abruptly and forced Sanders into the fire. What we actually saw on tape wasn't an indictment of talent so much as a reminder of how brutal NFL ramps can be. Pressure, both from the Ravens' front and the situation, produced ugly outcomes: sacks, a strip, and an interception that felt like a product of haste rather than poor mechanics. The Browns' offensive line and play calling didn't help. A rookie QB who needs clean pockets and manageable reads got neither. The Ravens' defense also baited Cleveland into predictable spots and made the rookie pay. The human side. Sanders said he felt he was made for it and believed in that final drive, but the short sample size and the weight of expectation are real. He slid in the draft, reportedly because teams worried about readiness and process. Now he has half a game under his belt in the regular season and a mountain of social and media scrutiny. That is a ton of pressure for any rookie, and especially